So today we're going to go ahead and start talking about tables inside Word. And tables are different than table of contents. They're two separate things, and tables are used often to explain data, organize data, and do all types of things. And a lot of these tools and different techniques that we're going to use are also going to transfer over to Excel, because Excel is essentially a very large table or spreadsheet. And then it's also going to transfer to PowerPoint because tables show up in PowerPoint too. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and create a new document in our OneDrive. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my OneDrive files, and I'm going to go into my Computer Apps 1 folder and create a new Word document for tables. So I'm going to go find my Computer Apps 1 folder, and I'm going to then create a new document, or go into instruction files and create a new document for tables. So I'm going to create a Word document, and then up at the top, once it loads, I'm going to go ahead and rename it from document to tables, so that way I know where the document is and what it's about, rather than just leaving it at document. So up here at the top, I'm going to go ahead and remove the word document and name it tables, and hit enter to keep the name. When we're working with tables, you're going to go to the Insert tab rather than the References tab. The References tab does have table of contents because it's something that the reader references to get more information. However, a table is usually just data, right? It's information that's embedded inside the file or inside the document in the middle of it. So it's something obviously that they reference as well, but we're inserting it instead. Just like we would a picture, a smart art, a graphic, all those kinds of things. And you can see here that tables are an option on the 365 version. However, when you go to insert a table, you get the boxes that allow you to draw a table, and then you get the option to insert a table down at the bottom in the drop-down menu. Inside of here, you still only have the options to define how many columns and rows something is, but there's so much more that a table can do. And even if I insert a table here, you'll see that I get the table design and table layout tab, but even those don't have all the options. I've got some table styles and some different style options, and I have the option to remove or insert rows and those kinds of things, but it still is limited. So what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead, and if you've created a table, you can go to the table layout tab, and you can delete the table by going to the delete group in 365 and deleting that table. And we're going to go ahead and open this document in our desktop app instead. So I'm going to open in desktop app off the ribbon. I'm going to open it in Word and have it open in the full version so I can see all the options. So now that we're in the full version of Microsoft Word, we can go to the Insert tab, and you'll see that table is also available. But when we click the drop-down menu for table, we have more options. We not only get to draw the number of columns and rows that we would use, or we can insert the table, but we can even draw a table. We can embed an Excel spreadsheet into here. And then they offer a lot of quick tables that would be like calendars or matrices or things that have already formatted areas and different templates that are available to you. Also, if we go to the Insert Table dialog box, you'll even see that there's even more options than there was in the dialog box on the 365 version, because not only do we get to insert a number of columns and rows, but we also get to determine the auto-fit behavior. And the auto-fit behavior means that, like, as you put in content, how is the width and height of the cells going to react? And is it going to expand the table all the way to the edge of the page by default, or is it going to be doing just to the content that's in there? So you have those options as well. I'm going to go ahead and hit cancel. And what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to pause the video here, and I'd like you to insert a 2-row by 4-column table, a 2-row by 4-column table. So go ahead and do that. So when we're talking about tables, and this will transfer straight over to Excel, is you have columns that go up and down, and you have rows that go left to right. And again, we talked about this when we went to columns. I like to compare this to like columns in the Colosseum, or Roman buildings, because that's what held up the buildings, right? So columns go up and down and rows go left to right. So if we're trying to do a 2-row by 5 or 4-column table, we're going to have 4 columns going across and 2 rows within that. So I'm going to go to the table here, and I'm going to go 4 across, because that's 4 columns going up and down. And then I'm going to go 2 down, which would be 2 rows going across. It's kind of hard because, like, when we talk about it, rows go across the table, but we go down to add more. And columns go, up and down on the table, but we go across to add more. So it's a little bit interesting. So I'm going to do a 4x2 table and insert that into my document. And we're going to go ahead and put in some labels for headings for the table columns. So I'm going to go ahead and put project, lead, start date, and completion date. And this may be like a quick project tracker, like you have a bunch of projects going on in your business and you want to know who like the lead person is, and you want to know what the current start and completion date are of that project so that you can kind of keep those projects on track. And then what I want you to do is notice that at the top of your ribbon, you now have table design and table layout, and they have more options. If we go to layout especially, it definitely has more options than we had in the 365 version. And if I click down below my table, those tabs disappear, just like they do with SmartArt, pictures, shapes, all those kinds of things. But if I click back up in the table, they come back. So when you're working with a table, it's really important to note that the table design and layout tools only come in play when you're clicked inside the table.